how to talk to a seller over the phone to buy their property creatively with subject to real estate investing strategy. Hey gang, my name is Mike with My Real Estate Dojo, and I'm going to share with you how I bought houses in the last crash, which started in 2006, through seller financing, subject to real estate investing, aka taking over house payments or taking over mortgage payments. Now, talking to a seller over the phone is one of the most important skills you can learn as a real estate investor, because it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of gas, a lot of headaches. One of the most important things you have to realize is that when I first started as a real estate investor, I talked to the seller and I only filtered them out 25%, and 75% of the information I would go meet with them face to face, and then I would filter out that information and give the seller the offer. As I improved on my craft, I became where I did all the information over the phone, and I would never go out to the seller's home to the very, very end when they already accepted my offer. So in other words, I saved a lot of time and energy because I learned how to talk to a seller over the phone and then give offers. So there's a two-part phase of talking to sellers over the phone. The first phase is to gather information, and the second phase is to talk to them over the phone and give the seller the offer. So let's dive in. Now that you know there's a two-phase part. Why is it talking to a seller over the phone very, very important? Because it helps you get the deal a lot smoother. And the very first thing you have to do when you talk to a seller over the phone is to, identify that the person you're talking to is actually the person that's on the deed. They're the actual owner of the property, because believe it or not, a lot of times people will call and it'll be their sister, or it'll be their kid, or it'll be someone else that's not even the rightful owner of the property. And one of the most important things as a real estate investor is our time. So we have to protect our time, and we have to make sure that we're talking to the right decision maker. We don't want to talk to people that cannot make a decision about the property. So one of the first thing is to ask the seller is over the phone is, hey, whoever's calling you, hey, are you the person that's on the deed, right? Are you the owner of the property? That's very, very important, okay? Another question that's very, very important is to ask them, why do they want to sell? This is very, very crucial, because I personally, as a real estate investor, only deal with motivated sellers. I'm not buying real estate property paying full price for it. I'm not a retail buyer. I'm not going to live in there. It's not my dream home. For me, it's just about the numbers. It's just the business. But the cool thing with me is that I can pay full price and I can buy the house at a deep discount, because I'm a flexible, creative real estate investor. And that's what I'm going to teach you, okay, in this video. So one of the most important questions is, Mr. Seller, why do you want to sell? What's your situation? If the seller says something that's not positive, like for example, if they say something like, I'm just testing out the waters, then that's not a positive situation. Then I try to get their contact information, their name, their email, their text phone, their cell phone number, so I can text them later, put them into my follow-up system, so we can put them in a follow-up system, and then I'm getting off the phone, okay? Or I'm having my virtual assistants train them to get off the phone, because that's not my type of customer that's going to work with me. Now, if I ask them, Mr. Seller, or my virtual assistants ask them, Mr. Seller, why do you want to sell? What's your situation? And they say that there's a divorce in the family, and the husband has moved out and the wife can't afford to make the payments anymore, then that's like ding, 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 ding. That's a good sign right there. Or if the seller says, well, this is my vacation home. I just lost my job. We don't even live there. It's in a different state. Then I'm hearing ding, 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 because those are the type of people I'm looking for in my line of business, buying houses through seller financing, buying houses by taking over the house payment, or buying houses at a deep discount. It doesn't matter if my exit strategy was to fix and flip, if my exit strategy was to rent it out, if my exit strategy was to wholesale it, if my exit strategy was whatever. The key part is to find motivated sellers. I can't pay retail price. I won't pay retail price. I won't pay 90%. I won't pay 80% if I'm paying all cash. I'm buying at a deep discount. Okay, that's very, very important to realize. But I can pay full price if the seller is willing to do seller financing, and not every seller is willing to do seller financing. Only highly motivated sellers are willing to do seller financing. That's why it's my job, and what I'm trying to teach you, and what I teach my virtual assistants, is to identify if they're not a motivated seller, because the whole goal is to talk to sellers over the phone to buy their property through creative, subject to real estate investing strategies. And for that to work, for that recipe to work, I need motivated sellers. I don't need somewhat motivated or kind of motivated or not motivated or they're testing the waters. I need highly motivated sellers. And if I'm spending my time talking to the wrong sellers, then I'm going to spend a lot of time and energy and have the blues, which means that I won't do a deal. I spend a lot of time and energy. Days have gone by, weeks have gone by, and I haven't done anything. So the most important thing is to identify the sellers. That's why I said talking to sellers over the phone, there's a two-part process to get the deal. One is to gather information. The second is to call them back in less than 24 hours and give them the offer, right? So the first step is to gather information. That's what I'm trying to share with you right now is, are they the owner of the property? That's very, very important. And why do they want to sell? What's their situation? Because if they give me a wrong answer, then we discontinue the conversation and we put them into our follow-up funnels. And if you don't have a follow-up funnels, automation funnels, go to my real estate dojo, download the Alchemy Stones funnel automation system, which does all that stuff for you. But going back to the story, if I'm talking to a wrong seller, adios, as they say in Mexico. And if they're not motivated, or if they are motivated, then we elaborate and talk to them more. We need to gather as much information as possible. Another question is, Mr. Seller, if my cash offer worked for you and for me, okay, because I'm letting them know right then and there that it's not just for them only. This is not a win situation. It needs to be a win-win. We both win. So that's why I say, hey, Mr. Seller, if my cash offer worked for you and for me, when would you be able to move out of the property and get this deal closed? If the seller says, well, I got to find a property to move into, and they're like, yeah, I got to find a property to move into, I'm like, adios, right? I'm putting them into the follow-up automation system, letting that handle, because after a while, that will bake. However, if the seller says something like, well, look, this is our vacation home. We don't even live there. We can make this happen tomorrow. We can make this happen yesterday. We can make this happen whenever it's convenient for me as an investor. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Again, this is the type of seller that I want, because A, they're motivated. They just told me earlier they had, this is their vacation home. They don't live there and they lost their job. And two, they're telling me they're able to close as soon as possible, as soon as I'm ready to pull on the trigger. That's the kind of seller that I want, okay? Then we have to go down the rabbit hole more and more and more. We have to ask more questions to see the level of motivation, because when someone's motivated, that's amazing. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, versus someone that's not motivated. Right? Someone's not motivated, that's not my deal. Not right now, at least. But when I put them into my funnel automation, give them time to bake. That's what I call it, bake. Then they'll become motivated too if they don't sell their property. However, if they are motivated, then I have to ask more questions to go down the tunnel to figure out, what is their level of motivation? Because once I identify a motivated seller, are they a 10 or are they just a 1? Okay, because a 10, I need to go up there right now and get the contract signed, or I need to send them the contract via email to get the deal done. If they're a 1 and I have 5 other 10s in front of me, then I need to pay attention to I need to prioritize my time and put the attention to the 10s first, motivated, and then work the way to the 1s, okay? But if you have virtual assistants, then you don't have to have that problem. But some of you guys are starting out, you don't have virtual assistants, or you're not willing to download my virtual assistants, even though it's going to change your business. Doesn't matter if you're a painter, contractor, a real estate investor, you own a moving, you're a real estate brokerage. Outsourcing can exponentially grow your business. Okay, so make sure you get my VA course, but at myrealestatedojo.com. But coming back to the story, Once I found that they were motivated, I got to go down to the rabbit hole to gather more information. Now, another question that I asked the seller over the phone to buy their house was seller financing, subject to real estate investing, or AKA taking over payments, is, hey, do you have a mortgage on this property? Okay, now why is that an important question? Because if the seller says no, they don't have a mortgage, then I know that I can buy their house at a deep discount with cash. Okay, that's very, very important, because this seller is in a situation where I can buy their house 60 cents minus repairs or 50 cents minus repairs. Okay. However, if the seller says no, I have a mortgage on my property, all right, then we need other questions like, when did you buy this home? Okay, if they say they just bought it 2 years ago in my conversation, then I can calculate in my brain that they're not going to have that kind of equity for me to buy their home with cash. So I can give them a cash offer, and I do, but realistically, I'm sharing with you, realistically, they're not in a situation to do that. Maybe they are. Maybe they have money in the bank, and they're like, a rich people, and that's why I need to ask more questions to get information about them, right? So I know how to structure my deals, and that's why you should download my Ninja phone script, because every questions I just asked and a lot more are in there. Plus video training on how to talk to sellers, plus live calls with sellers where we ask them these questions and give offers so you can listen to that and help you. I don't know why you haven't downloaded my Ninja phone script. It's revolutionary. Not only do you get the script, but you get 2 videos. You get to listen for over an hour to live calls with different types of sellers. That's going to change your life. Okay? I know if I had that when I started, it would change my life. It took me years to figure out how to talk to sellers over the phone. Okay? So now we ask them, do you have a mortgage? If they say they do have a mortgage, we know how to structure a deal differently. If they say they don't have a mortgage, then we know how to structure a deal also. Okay? So we're trying to gather as much information as possible. For example, another question that I asked the seller is, well, Mrs. Seller, once I give you this money for this deal and this deal closes, what are you going to do with it? Because I want to know if they have to pay like their debt off, they got to pay their kids' emergency bill, or the family's in the hospital, or mom and dad's in the hospital, or they're going to go on vacation. So the answer they tell me is going to, really help me understand what type of situation the seller is in also. Okay, if they say they're just going to put it in their banking account saving, then I know that they're probably in a better situation versus someone says, look, I need this money because I got to pay my kid's hospital bill. My kid has cancer and I need this money. So all that stuff's going to help me call them back in less than 24 hours and give my offer and craft it in a way where it's going to help the seller. Because again, I need the seller to say yes to my deep discount cash offer if he or she's in a positioning for that. But if they're not in a positioning for that, then I want them to say yes to me taking over their payments, where the seller becomes my private bank, aka seller financing, owner financing, subject to real estate investing, whatever you want to call it. It's basically the same idea. Okay. Heidi, how's it going? Good. So anyways, it's very important to find motivated sellers and ask them the questions very, very correctly so you can get the information you need to structure deals. Because remember what I said earlier, phase 1 is to gather information. You want to gather as much information as possible, what I call probing, to be able to structure a deal to create a win-win. Now, you heard me say win-win a couple of times here. What does it really mean to be a win-win situation? Okay, and I have videos about that in my academy, but let me explain it real quick. A win-win situation means that the seller doesn't win and you don't win. No one wins. That's a win-win situation. Because if I win and the seller doesn't win, then that's not a win. And if the seller wins and he gets everything he wants and I don't get anything I want, then that's not a deal either. Right? So it has to be a win-win when no one wins. The seller doesn't win because he doesn't get everything he wants. I don't win because I don't get everything I want. But we'll meet in the middle. That's what a win-win is. Okay? And this is why it's very, very important to find motivated sellers, because if you don't find motivated sellers, this ingredient will never work. It just won't work because it only works with motivated sellers. Okay? Now, a motivated seller doesn't mean someone that's down and under. Okay? A lot of people think motivated sellers is someone's down and under. No, I personally have been motivated. Okay? And I've been motivated and I sold my stuff, my properties for darn cheap a lot because I just wanted to leave a lot of room for the next guy on the table, next real estate investor on the table, and I wanted a fast closing, and I wanted him to jump through the hoops that I've set, like no inspection, no this, no this. You pay all my costs, you do whatever fuck I say, and if you're willing to do that, I'll let you save 100K off this property. I've been motivated, right? So motivated sellers come in two fashions. You have fashion number one, which is they're financially motivated. Okay, that's pretty simple. The other ones that I really like is emotionally motivated sellers. Emotionally motivated seller is they usually are not in a financial hardship. They actually have money. They're smart. They're just looking for different options. But they have money, but they don't want to deal with the property anymore. Like when I became a motivated seller back in 2016, 2017, I had family issues, and guess what? I didn't want to deal with the properties anymore. So I let them go for deep discount, but I still made 100K per property plus, and so I still, I could have made a lot more if I would have done the traditional way, but I didn't want to have a lot of showings. I didn't want to, do inspection. I wanted a cash buyer. I wanted him to jump through the hoops that I wanted to, and I was willing to give him a deep discount, and people showed up, and they bought these properties. So there's two types of motivated sellers, what I'm trying to get to, and the best ones are emotionally motivated. And this is why I asked the seller, well, seller, once I give you this cash for this deal and the deal closes, what are you going to do with it, right? And if they tell me like, hey, they're going to put in their savings, or they're going to, invest in cryptos, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do something that's like emotionally hard for them, then I know what kind of situation they're in. For example, if the seller says they need 10K to pay their kids' cancer treatment, then I got a structured deal where I give them 10K or close to 10K or 5K, something like that, because they really need that money to do that. And then is, maybe their house has $50,000 in equity, but that they don't have the time, emotional, to show it, to clean it. They just want to just give it to me, right? And they're willing to let me take it over the payment, so I could afford to give them 10K for 50K. Right? So, but if the seller says, for example, they just need the extra money, because they don't really need extra money, they just want to sell it because they don't, it's too far for them, it's too hassle, then I might say, I'll give you the 10K because you're giving me 50, but I'm going to give you a note. So I'm going to make payments on the 10K. It's not going to be a lump sum of money. It's going to be a little now and monthly payments till I cash out the loan, so I'll retire out the loan. See, that way I can save my 10K. So even though I can negotiate equity cash out, it could be all cash or it could be a payment structure. This is why it's so important for you to download my Ninja phone script, because I show you exactly what questions to ask, how to ask it, and when to ask it, and why is the importance of asking it. Plus I have training videos on how to ask the Ninja phone script. Plus I have videos on how to talk to sellers. You can listen to live communication with sellers. Plus on my Ninja phone script, there's a form that teaches you how to give offers to sellers, how to evaluate the deal. So if you haven't downloaded it, I'm not sure, you're just messing with yourself. And right now, the best thing is I have a sell on it. You can get it for pennies on the dollar at myrealestatedojo.com. So make sure you go download my phone script, take some action, talk to sellers, filter them, because filtering them is so important, even if you're new. And then if you're new, filter them 25%, go out to 75% of the homes. If you're a pro, then you need to work your way on learning how to give offers over the phone and getting the deal over the phone without driving there. All right? Getting the deal, like, I give the offers, I talk to the sellers, I give the offers, they sign it, and then I show up, right, to the property. And if you want to do that, you can do that too, because you can train virtual assistants to do that for you. If you need help with virtual assistants, go to My Real Estate Dojo, download my virtual assistants revolution. It's going to change your life if you take action with it. I show you how to hire people in third world countries, college education, PhDs, MDs, so forth, working for your company for just $125 a month. They're working full-time, 40 hours a week, guys. They can do your cold calling. They can do so many things for you. And you can get more information on my blog at myrealestatedojo.com. Thanks for watching. Don't take no for an answer. Always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you ever imagined. Romy. Peace. Real quick, download my free book, Real Estate Investing for Beginners, the ultimate starter guide at myrealestatedojo.com, where I teach you how to find motivated sellers, buy their homes at a deep discount, and then have the seller become your own private bank. Subject to, get it now. One more thing, if you're looking for private one-on-one help when it comes to real estate investing, then consider joining my academy where you sit down with me one-on-one. 2, you get monthly coaching. 3, you get access to my best-selling courses. 4, you get access to my video library, and then the list goes on for just $97 a month. Join me now at MrNoFluff.com. Lastly, the best 6-figure side hustle, bicycle flipping. Want to see how? Here's a behind the scene video how I did it. Go to thebestsidehustle.mrnofluff.com. Now let's get back to the content.